Time to rally! Love Madison, Wisconsin's professional volleyball team, is on fire. Catch 2 chances to see pro volleyball action this week. Thursday, March 12th at 7 p.m. is spring break in Madison. Students get in for $10 with a student ID. Plus, another match on Sunday, March 15th at 2 p.m. Perfect for a family-friendly afternoon. Y'all, this is top-level volleyball action. Get your tickets today to secure your seat and follow Love Madison on social media for updates.
Is there a science that explains God? What if the next great paradigm shift isn't about matter, but about spirit? A free lecture titled The Science of God and Its Power to Heal Us explores these questions. Speaker Nikki O'Hagan will travel from Ireland to Madison to share this talk on Thursday, March 19th at 6 p.m. at First Church of Christ Scientist on Seago Road. All are welcome. Visit ChristianScienceMadison.com for details.
This is CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about.
Hey Madison, it's executive producer Haley Sperling here. Before we get into today's show, I wanted to tell you about what we've got cooking on this week's episode of Your City Could Be Better, CityCast's new weekly podcast. In this week's show, CityCast Chicago's Jacoby Cochran steps into the host chair and talks to CityCast DC co-host Mike Schaefer about an interesting piece of legislation recently passed in DC. Last week, D.C. Council passed an emergency legislation requiring local police to release body camera footage of incidents involving federal forces they patrol with. And they now have to collect the names of federal officers who make arrests. This is a big shift in local policy, and it's partially motivated by the fact that local cops have really damaged their reputation by patrolling with the feds. You definitely don't want to miss this episode or any episode of Your City Could Be Better. Every week, Your City Could Be Better features stories from across the CityCast network about the people that are trying in cities across the U.S. to make their cities more affordable, welcoming, sustainable, and successful. The show is all about learning from each other and how to make our city better. Every episode includes the question, what can listeners take from this conversation today to make their cities better? This show is a big part of our mission here at CityCast, where we truly believe that better neighbors make better cities. Episodes come out every Friday and in our CityCast Madison feed on Sundays. You can stream it on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, let's dive into today's show. It is time for the Friday News Roundup, and this week we're talking about another big announcement from the Supreme Court, a whole host of developments to keep an eye on in the city, and everyone's favorite mode of transportation, trains. Joining me today is our producer, Jade Isiri Ramos. Hello, Jade.
I don't know that trains are my favorite mode of transportation. I'm a big bus girl over here.
Wow, throwing a wrench in the conversation. We're getting spicy off the bat. Let's go, Jade. All right, and Madison's favorite newsletter editor. I don't think there's any competition there. No. Rob Thomas.
Jade, you have a disagreement on that as well?
Wow, no.
Okay,
I think that you are the best newsletter editor the city has to offer.
I appreciate it. I'm the trains or the buses, depending on your point of view.
Yeah.
Newsletter editors, yeah.
The train conductor of newsletter editors, if you will. I've got the first story today, and we are talking Supreme Court, Wisconsin Supreme Court to be specific. Earlier this week, Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice Annette Ziegler announced that she will not seek re-election next year. Ziegler is a conservative who has been on the state Supreme Court since 2007. She was reelected in 2017 and served for 4 years as Chief Justice. And I have to say, in 2017, she ran unopposed, which I can't even fathom these days. Like, is that just a wild concept to you guys?
Maybe the Democrats just forgot there was an election that year. I don't know. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe like licking 2016 wounds, you know?
Maybe. I don't know.
So fair. So fair. Well, Why is she leaving now? It's kind of the classic, I want to spend more time with my family, retirement reasons, not much to it. In a statement, she said, quote, "While I will not be a candidate next year, my appreciation for the people of Wisconsin and the judicial system I have been privileged to serve in remains strong as ever. I look forward to finishing out the rest of my term on the court and handing the baton to a new justice in 2027. So she announced her retirement. There's going to be an election. Are you guys having deja vu, or is that just me?
I mean, we're talking about the Supreme Court all the time these days.
I mean, I'm really curious why she decided to announce it now. We have another Supreme Court election in less than a month?
Yes, exactly. So you called it out, Rob. Ziegler is the second conservative justice to announce their exit from the court since liberals took over the majority back in 2023, which feels like decades ago. Liberals have held on to their majority last year in a race that broke national spending records and, as we recall, drew some antics from billionaire Elon Musk. So we'll have another Supreme Court election next year. But as you mentioned, Rob, we also have an election happening next month. On April 7th, voters will determine who will join the court to fill the absence left by departing, again, conservative justice Rebecca Bradley. And for what it's worth, in her statement announcing her departure, Bradley pointed specifically to the changing ideological balance of the court and her wish to better serve the conservative movement elsewhere in terms of her reasoning for leaving. So she kind of said the quiet part out loud. Ziegler's statement, as I alluded to, was much less partisan in that regard. And as a reminder, the state Supreme Court is technically a nonpartisan body, but I kind of think we're past the point of dancing around the fact that each justice definitely has their own leaning. They're always going to say, I believe in the law, and the law is the law. So it goes. But let's dig into the candidates that we'll be voting on next month. Dane County Court of Appeals Judge Chris Taylor is the liberal candidate, quote unquote. She's running against fellow appeals court judge Maria Lazar, who is the conservative option. And so far, Taylor has by far been the bigger fundraiser. According to AP, Taylor has raised 10 times as much last year as her Republican-endorsed opponent, which I think really puts into context the sort of challenges that conservatives are facing in our beloved battleground and deeply purple state. And I guess for what it's worth, though, this election and now next year's election doesn't put the ideological balance of the court into question. Liberals already have a 4-3 advantage. If Taylor wins next month, it'll be 5-2. And if liberals win again next year, it'll be 6-1. If it goes the other way, conservatives still won't have the majority. But it's also all pretty wild to consider that we could have a 6-1 liberal-leaning court in a state where conservatives had such a tight grip on the court for about 15 years before it flipped in 2023. So are we ready to do this again and again?
Yeah, it's so interesting because, will this put more of a spotlight on next month's race, which it feels like, relatively speaking, has been kind of quiet compared to the last couple of Supreme Court races?
I feel like it's been so quiet.
Yeah.
I really have not seen any ads.
I've seen some social media ads, but no commercials or anything like that. If I'm not taking Ziegler at her word and she's not just suddenly now decide she wants to spend more time with her family, was she trying to put more of a spotlight on this race and say, wake up conservatives, liberals could really spike the ball in a couple of years if we're not careful? Or will this drive turnout among Democrats saying wow, we can really cement our majority on the Supreme Court for a good year to come? So I don't know, it's really interesting.
Yeah, I think the timing's really the story here.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was going to be a race in 2027 regardless, but curious to see what's going to happen at this upcoming election because this announcement happened.
Yeah. And two, when we talk about the ideological balance of the court, we have to talk about the issues at hand. There are several high-profile issues that could make their way to the court even in the coming months. And some of those cases involve, abortion rights, collective bargaining rights, congressional redistricting, and even election rules. So the court decides on a lot of important things. So very curious to see how this will all play out. Go vote April 7th. Put it on your calendar. Very exciting news. And, we've got more news to dive into. But before we do, let's take a quick break.
Madison, meet your new secret weapon, TaskRabbit. TaskRabbit officially launched in our city last June, and Madisonians are already using TaskRabbit services to make their lives easier. And I know that's true because I have used TaskRabbit on numerous occasions, particularly for moving and setting up my place. From furniture assembly to painting, they've got a tasker for that. Simply download the app, describe your needed task, and browse profiles of skilled neighbors who can help you today. And you know what else is a huge plus? Their transparent pricing. You'll see the hourly rate upfront, which includes the tasker's rate and the service fee, so there are no surprises at checkout. And you can decide what works for you and what you're willing to pay. So what are you waiting for? Find your first tasker today at TaskRabbit.com or on the app.
Hi, I'm David Plotz. I'm the CEO of CityCast, a podcast network that includes this show you're listening to, and also 12 other CityCasts in 12 other cities. And each one knows their city as well as your local team knows yours. So isn't it time we connected them? Don't you want to know how they're tackling their bike lane problems and housing challenges and sidewalk dog poop crises? That's why I'm hosting a new podcast called Your City Could Be Better. Because it could be. Every week, I'll chat with a different host in our CityCast network about what their cities are doing right and wrong, the weird things they're trying, and the surprising successes, so that we can all learn how to make our cities a little bit better. Listen to Your City Could Be Better on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, we are back and we are building on this Friday news roundup. And Rob, you got the scoop on some buildings.
Yeah, I'm talking new developments today because it's Madison. So I'm talking new developments every single day, it seems. But this time we're going to get a little weird with it. We're going to get a little weird. First of all, we're talking about what's known as Master Hall, an apartment building in the 400 block of West Gilman. It's a 7-story apartment building that's on the chopping block along with several other nearby properties to make way for a 16-story apartment development that's already been approved. So that's pretty common right now in Madison. What's different is that Master Hall is a pretty rare example of what's called brutalist architecture in Madison. It's a very blocky, minimalist, austere kind of in-your-face design that was really in vogue in the 1950s. You usually see it on public buildings more than private buildings, like Humanities on the UW campus is brutalist. The Chazen Museum of Art is brutalist. I mean, do you know Master Hall? Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you seen it?
I looked it up for this, and when I saw the image, I was like, oh, yeah, I've been past this 100 times, and I've looked at it and been like, that's a choice.
Yeah.
It's right across from Paul's Pimeni Dumplings.
Yeah, I actually had a friend that lived there when I went to school at UW. So I've been there, been inside it. And it looks cool. It's it's brutalist for sure, but the way it's got those squares, the windows as cutouts gives me also sort of mid-century mod vibes. It's in your face in that brutalist aspect, but it's not... I feel like it's not as severe or really, daunting that the brutalism movement kind of gave.
Yeah, a lot of brutalism is concrete. It's really it's grim sometimes, I think. I think of an Eastern European before the Iron Curtain fell kind of vibe. And this is like I saw one person quote in a Cap Times article said it was like a Jenga puzzle or
Absolutely.
It's cool. It's very, I think, very elegant for a brutalist building. And local preservationists agree that it has historic value because it's so different. The Madison Trust for Historic Preservation submitted an application to the city saying it has historic value and should receive landmark status, which would make it harder but not impossible to tear down. So right now we have the Plan Commission has both the developer's request to demolish the building and a finding by the Landmarks Commission that the site is of historic value. The Plan Commission could take up that issue in its meeting on March 16th next week. So the thing is, even if it gets landmark status, that still would mean it was automatically prevented from being torn down, but it makes it a lot more difficult. And the Landmark Commission says at the very least, if the city does decide to demolish it, that they document the building as sort of this, this rare example of Madison architecture. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we leave that Jenga puzzle up or tear it down for something bigger and better?
I'm so torn on this one, honestly. I am usually always in favor of the burn it down and build. If
I
we're
didn't
being
say burn
real.
it down. But...
In my mind, we're burning it down.
Okay, all right.
But like, this one, it looks really cool.
Yeah.
It looks really cool. There's not a lot like it in Madison. And also, like, for what it's worth, the apartments are relatively affordable when you're talking about the big scheme of, especially a lot of students are living there. It's
There's
a lot of
studios,
there's
right?
studios. Yeah. So
yeah.
It gives folks and I say, affordable to who, ? It's all contextual. But I think that it is, I don't know, you don't come across a lot of places like this, a lot of buildings like this. I do very much see the argument for landmark, and normally I'm not always pro landmark because I think it gets us into a bind, but I don't love the idea of tearing down this really, really cool thing for another massive apartment building. That said, though, we do need some massive apartment buildings downtown.
Yeah, it's hard because it's like, this is gives such character to the area. And there's a rendering in the Wisconsin State Journal piece of what the building would look like if they built it up. And it's like, yeah, I've seen 7 of these be built in the last 5 years.
Right.
It doesn't have the same character on a street that I think like is very Madison, right? Like, what's more Madison than Paul's,
Yeah, the Chiba Hut down the
Chiba
street.
Hut, yeah.
Oh, you're making me hungry.
I was thinking about it'd be neat if they, assuming the building doesn't survive, if like the new design could incorporate it in some way on it. I think of like Overture Center, where that, I can't remember the name of the department store that was there in the corner that had the big dome, but they sort of incorporated that into the rotunda, right? So that would be a nice little way to honor it, but I guess we'll see. So the other weird building I want to talk about is actually a new building, a proposed new building for 999 South Park Street near the intersection with Lakeside Street. So it would have 50 apartments and room for commercial space on the first floor. So again, typical Madison development right now. But it has some opposition from neighbors because it looks weird, they say, compared to similar developments in Madison. Have you guys seen this one?
Yeah. But that's like round little roofs.
Yeah, it's like these barrel roofs lined up, and then the patios are like triangles. And it's cool. It's sort of like part Art Deco and part like a Jetsons space age design. And it's really different from anything else in Madison. Like, I think both proponents and opponents agree that it's weird. It's whether it's a good thing or not.
I love bring more weird, bring more whimsy into Madison. We need it. We want it. The people like it. I think people are into this building, honestly. Like, I think it looks cool. You said it's got that Art Deco vibe. It's not something that you see 5 times copied and pasted down the street, which makes me happy.
Right. Yeah, there was one resident who said, well, this isn't seamless with, quote, that was their word, with other designs. And it's like, one person's seamless is another person's cookie cutter, right? We have so many big developments right now that look exactly the same. And I mean, I do want to live in George Jetson's building, right? So that looks cool. And Alderman Davey Mayer said, this is weird, and I use weird as a compliment. So it looks like it passed the Urban Design Commission unanimously. So it's still got to go through the other processes, and there are also neighbor concerns about traffic and the environmental impact, which other commissions will deal with. But as far as the weirdness goes, I think it's here to stay.
Heck yeah, I'm here for it. We love weird.
Me too. I think it's exactly what we're talking about with the Master Hall. It's like, it's weird, it's cool, it should stay.
Yeah.
Same with this. It's cool, it's weird, it should be built.
Right.
Build more weird. I love it. I love all this development. I feel like this little roundup is such an encapsulation of Madison development just perfectly, right? Do we build? Do we tear it down?
Right.
It's too weird. It's not weird enough. Oh, man. And we have some more exciting future news coming up as well. But before we get into that, let's take a quick break. All right, we are back and we are chugging along on this Friday news roundup. Jade, you are taking us to the next story. What do we got?
Yeah, choo-choo, all aboard for the latest Amtrak news. I know at the top I said that I'm not like, trains aren't my favorite. I like buses, but I am very excited about this Amtrak news. So Amtrak, the newest news is they're planning to come to Madison by 2030.
Woo!
Like it's 2026 now. Like that's not that far
No.
away. Yeah.
That scared me, honestly,
Yeah.
when I was like 2030. That's like so far away. But then I'm like, oh, that's now. That's now.
And to make it even earlier, we could have rides coming in as early as 2029. Though it would be in a temporary station, not like the official, this is our train station. So we could be on a train in as little as 3 years.
Take me away. Put me on the train.
So backing up a little bit, we've been talking about Amtrak on the show for the past several years, and the city and the state have been planning for an Amtrak station since 2021. That's when Amtrak included services to Madison in its vision for 2035. And then in 2023, the Biden administration awarded the Wisconsin Department of Transportation a federal planning grant for several Amtrak routes, including services to Madison, which sort of, again, added gasoline to the fire. And then at the end of last year, the City Department of Transportation came out with their preferred location for the Amtrak station in Madison, which we talked about on the show, and that would be on Wilson Street. There's already tracks that exist between Wilson and John Nolan, and a station would be there. And Bianca spoke with City Transportation Director Christoph Spieler about that decision and why it's their favorite spot. I'll make sure to link that in the show. But do you guys remember sort of the reasons that Christoph said this is our favorite spot?
Well, I remember because at least for me, I was kind of surprised that this was the favorite for them. And it came down to, if I recall, like they wanted to be able to have folks get off the train and immediately be downtown, be able to walk to hotels, restaurants, anything that they wanted to. It's not my personal favorite spot, but I get it, I guess, from that standpoint.
Yeah, it seems really amenable to people coming to Madison, maybe not as much for people leaving Madison on the train with, finding parking and things like that.
Those are the pros that they laid out, including the fact that where it is at and where they are hoping to have it is the most central part of Madison, right? So it doesn't, overly serve folks on the west side or the north side. It really gets right to the heart of Madison. And, according to Christoph, there's plenty of parking downtown, so
I don't know what. All right, we are living in two different realities. But okay.
I mean, I guess you could take BRT, and there are options.
That's so true. Take the bus to get on the train.
See, then Jade will be really happy because she gets to do two of her favorite things.
not to dox myself, but my bus would drop me off right at the train station.
See,
so,
okay.
I'm right on the route. So what's the plan for Amtrak? They are expanding the Hiawatha line, which currently runs from Chicago to Milwaukee. And they will eventually also expand that line to Minneapolis. They're calling this plan Hiawatha West. But what's also new to this conversation is that there is the historic state office building, which is on 1 West Wilson. That's currently for sale, and there's several developers who have bids in that include an Amtrak station inside the building, which honestly sounds incredible. Have you guys seen this building?
Yeah, it kind of looks like a big city train station, doesn't it? It's really cool.
This is actually the thing that makes me more excited about like a Wilson stop or a Wilson station, because like this is such a massive opportunity. This is really, it feels like a once in a lifetime opportunity to have something huge and grandiose. And, we've got the building it's also kind of like Art Deco-y in a way.
Yeah.
It's giving big city train station. And I like that. We're coming to play.
Yeah, so it's a 11-story building, as you said, Haley, Art Deco style, which was originally built between 1931 and 1959 and was most recently used by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services and is now up for sale. And again, developers are already thinking about what it could look like, having, maybe a hotel at the top or office buildings in the top and a train station at the base. But regardless, I think like you guys said, it sounds really cool. And Mike Revere told the State Journal that he has literally dreamt of the idea of the gorgeous Art Deco lobby being the gateway to the community. He says it's his dream location for the train station. And in fact, he told the Wisconsin State Journal the same thing 15 years ago when a conversation about Amtrak coming to Madison was also in the zeitgeist.
It's giving Grand Central Station.
It really is.
I love it. I really do love it. I think the idea of a hotel there makes a lot of sense. It's so exciting. I'm excited.
And just to say, like, this wouldn't delay the train coming, right? Developing this into a train station.
Right. So that's exactly the situation. What's going to happen is that development will happen sort of separate from Amtrak coming to Madison. Amtrak's going to begin their public planning efforts this spring and determine a temporary station location, which will be within the same zone sort of as the city has preferred. So between that Wilson and John Nolan section. So we're going to be on the train really soon.
That's crazy.
I know.
It's so soon. And I'm so excited about this because when we did our New Year's resolution show, we had folks call in and say, like, what do you hope for Madison in the new year? So many people brought up trains. So many people were like, bring the train here, get me on the train, let's go. So it's happening. I'm not saying we're making people's dreams come true, but did we manifest this?
Maybe.
Can you
I think so.
manifest trains?
I think so. We should do a train episode when it comes, like the way you guys did a bus episode. Yeah.
On the train.
Yeah.
Might be a little loud for a podcast, but we'll do our best.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Shout out to trains. Shout out to public transportation. Shout out to everything. And that brings us to our neighborhood shout out section. It's time to give some shout outs. This is the place where our CityCast Madison neighbors get to spread some love to people, places, and things that they adore in our fair city. So our shout out today comes from Catherine PM. She is shouting out Dan at Wisconsin Printing. She says he is, quote, great to work with, so helpful, and such high quality finished products. From neighborhood newsletters to business cards, he's the guy. I love it.
I love the shout out. I'm always like, where do I get things printed,
So especially locally.
Yeah.
Like you go to Staples and it's like kind of sad and you always just feel like you're bothering people there.
Because you are.
Because you are.
Yeah.
But not Dan.
No. I love a neighborhood shout out for a person, too. I think that's
Yeah.
really nice. Yeah.
More of those.
Yes.
And if you want the opportunity to shout out your favorite local businesses or people, join our Neighbors program. It's just $10 a month and it unlocks perks and makes the show possible. And we have a Neighbors only event coming up next week. So join now and you'll get the invite. And if you're already a neighbor, check out your email because we sent you the deets.
Yeah, we love it. Like we said, neighbor shout-outs are just part of the perks of being a CityCast Madison neighbor. We're hosting members-only events. We've got a members-only newsletter. And you just get the good feeling of knowing that you're supporting our group of local journalists here in Madison. So like Jade said, consider becoming a CityCast Madison neighbor today. It really means a lot. Head to membership.citycast.fm to learn more. Again, that's membership.citycast.fm. And we keep the celebration going. Rob, you've got one more story for us.
Yeah, Tuesday is St. Patrick's Day.
Woo!
It's the day where everybody's a little bit Irish and everybody's a little bit drunk. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. There are little bit, and actually there are lots of very family-friendly ways to get your shamrocks and your little plastic hats out and enjoy. Saturday is the Shamrock Shuffle, which is the big race that's a fundraiser for Boys and Girls Club of Dane County. Runners raise their pledges, get some green on, and then all meet at the 600 block of State Street. It's fun just to watch, even though it'll be a little chilly this weekend. And then, of course, the big one is Sunday. That's the St. Patrick's Day Parade on the Capitol Square. starts at noon with the raising of the Irish flag in the Capitol Rotunda by the Dane County Shamrock Club. And then a short program that includes Irish step dancing and Irish music. Everybody heads outside to the square for the parade around the square, which starts at 1:30 p.m. And then there's lots of Irish music going on around town, like our friends the Kissers. Ken Fitzsimmons has been on the pod before. His band, the Kissers, are playing their annual St. Paddy's Day show at the High Noon Saloon on Saturday. And I saw the Harmony Bar is going all in. They've got 3 nights of Irish music, Saturday night, Sunday night, and Tuesday night. And of course, they're serving Guinness and corned beef and cabbage.
I was going to say, there's got to be a food aspect here.
Oh, there's so much corned beef and cabbage out there. I don't know where it is the rest of the year, but like I saw Hubbard Avenue Diner does it every year. And then Cooper's Tavern is on the square is a place I usually go for Irish food. They've got a full Irish menu with what they call a scotty egg, which is like a Scotch egg with kind of a Wisconsin twist. They've got cottage pie and, of course, corned beef with cabbage. And then for dessert, Guinness chocolate cake, which sounds amazing.
Again, you're making me so hungry.
So get your little green plastic hat on and have a good time.
Well, I'm so excited. Happy almost St. Patrick's Day. And Rob, you've got a full roundup of even more events.
Yes.
Folks can check that out on our website. That's madison.citycast.fm. We'll also have a link to that in our show notes. So it's going to be a great time. And I have had such a great time rounding up the news with you guys today. Jade Siri Ramos, thank you so much.
Thank you, Haley.
Rob Thomas, thank you.
Thank you, Haley.
That's all for today here on CityCast Madison. I'm executive producer Haley Sperling, filling in for your host, Bianca Martin. We're produced by Jade Siri Ramos, with help this week from roving producers Matthew Rogers, Lizzie Goldsmith, and Jason Patton. Our theme music is by Carl Christensen. Additional music this week from April Moon, courtesy of Epidemic Sound, and All the Kimonos. Rob Thomas is our newsletter editor. You can get more news delivered right to your inbox by subscribing to our daily newsletter. And hey, don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Madison neighbor. Just head to membership.citycast.fm. And if you enjoyed today's show, why not share this episode with someone who likes to ride the bus to get on a train? We'll see you back here Monday morning with more news from around the city. And if you need more CityCast in your life, be sure to tune in to this week's episode of Your City Could Be Better, out now on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening and have a great weekend.